Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the Great Black Speakers podcast, where we connect through conversation. I am your host, Lawrence Watkins. I am the president and COO of the Black Business School. I am also the what am I? Oh yeah, the founder and CEO of Great Black Speakers. It's good to see you all today. Hope you guys can hear me. Can you hear me okay, Jerron?
It's a little choppy, but I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my computer was freezing up a little bit, it seems like over here. But today we are conversating or connecting with Jerron Fetty. And Jerron is a senior at Cornell University. He's also the co-founder of Wise Media. So today we're talking all about the education, the financial education of our youth, and what that actually means, what that actually looks like. Jerron has a very interesting story in terms of his platforms and how he got involved in this, I guess, industry. And we just want to hear his story and just some tips that people in his cohort, his age group, young people need to know about money as someone who is experiencing it right now. So, Jerron, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Just starting the day out in California.
Yeah, so you're actually at a Google right now, right? So you're doing your
Yeah.
summer internship at Google.
Yep.
Yeah, you're doing some cool things there, I'm sure. But can you talk about, what you're currently doing as a student and your platforms and how you got to this point, talking all about money to people in your age cohort?
Yeah, for sure. So I started Wise. It was originally Minority Wealth Management. It was just a YouTube channel focused on financial education, the basics of personal finance. And the reason I started it really was because I was getting to a point in my life where I started to learn about credit. My mom started teaching me about investing, and just really started to digest a lot of information about finance and in capital markets in America. And I realized that people started to look up to me because I was doing so, and I just felt like it was the right thing to do at that age of my life. And so what happened was, this was freshman, around senior of high school, freshman year of college, and I started to look into the numbers and statistics about Black people and money, right? Like, how does that look? Like, what are the stats? How are we doing? And I came across a few stats that really stuck out to me. One was that the median net worth of a Black household is about $16,000 compared to $160,000 of a white household. And that was like, I wasn't surprised at that statistic, but it was the second statistic that I found that said it's tending towards zero by 2053. That's when I really, I guess, felt like unsettled with the current state of wealth in the Black community. And I found myself sophomore year of college losing sleep over thinking about this problem. I would be up late at night, can't really fall asleep, just thinking about what are the ramifications of this happening in 2053. Like, what does it look like if an entire community or half of an entire community had $0 to their name, right? And so after like a few months of this, I was like, I have to do something. Like, I can't function. I can't, take exams. I can't think about my schoolwork because of this problem. So let me start something so I can start addressing it. And so me and my friend Leanna, shout out to her, she co-founded it with me. We started a YouTube channel. We said, okay, the best way we can start is just by putting out that education that we've, studied. And so moving on from there, we've been doing this for about a year and a half now. And about 6 to 7 months ago, we actually rebranded, restructured as Wise. So Wise is a financial education news and media platform now. We're looking to take the media approach because we do really believe that this is more of a psychological exposure type problem as opposed to just education. And, there's a famous quote that says, whoever controls the media controls the mind. And so when we're trying to approach this psychological problem, we can't just make educational videos. You have to take a holistic media approach and kind of rewrite an entire narrative. So that's where we're at right now. We're looking to grow.
Got you. The thing that you said that stood out to me, there's two things. And one is in regards to the wealth of African Americans going to zero if it continues on this path by year 2053 or whatever year you said. And then the second piece is how that made you feel, right? Because you said that you couldn't take exams, you couldn't really think about anything else other than that problem. So, why do you think, you are so, I guess, impassioned about this particular problem, where, it's getting to you to the point where you couldn't focus on your actual schoolwork?
That's a great question. So initially, if you asked me this a year ago, a year and a half ago, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you. It just seemed to not leave my mind. Like I couldn't tell you why it was there, but I realized that it just would not leave, right? And so that was at the point where I started it. But I think now that I look back on it, I realized that I was an entrepreneur since I was 16. That's when I first started my business, and first started a business, and I knew that I wanted to solve problems through business, and through innovation. And so it was a certain point, like once I came across that problem, or before I came across that problem, I just wanted to be like the next Mark Zuckerberg, next Bill Gates, just make a lot of money doing some tech startup. But in reality, what I care about and what I've found that I care about a lot is helping people, right? I'm here at Google. I do well in school, and that isn't always it for me. And kind of throughout my life, I've always used my success as an opportunity to give back, or not give back, pay it forward to somebody else. And so what I found through researching this information about where we are in the Black community of wealth, it made me realize that, like, yes, I'm an entrepreneur, but I care about helping people. And that's where that social entrepreneurship term comes in. And I think maybe there could have been another problem out there that I came across that I would have wanted to solve. But I think this was the first one that I came across where it allowed me to approach a problem with an entrepreneurial mindset and entrepreneurial solution. And I love personal finance. I love, thinking about wealth and kind of, talking about education and things like that. So it's like the perfect combination of what I genuinely care about and what I'm good at. Care about personal finance, wealth, that stuff, and I'm good at this entrepreneurship, like problem solving mentality.
Got you. That was very, very well said. And I want to just get into some tips here in 1 second for people in your age range in terms of what they can do to just be prepared financially as they are moving through their careers and even moving through high school. But before we do that, for people who are just tuning in, I'm here with Jerron Petty. Jerron is the co-founder of Wise Media. He's also a senior at Cornell University, an intern at Google as well. So he's doing a lot of great things. And, I said Google, and my little "Hey Google" popped up, actually.
Yeah, we try not to say that around the office.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can definitely see that particular front. But if you guys like this video, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button. For some reason, my computer's freezing up a little bit more today. I apologize about that. Yeah, so the sound quality will come right back here in a second. But please make sure you like this video. Please make sure that you share and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. So, Jerron, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So people between the ages of, let's say, 14 and 22, what's the, I guess, number one thing that you think that they should know about money?
Number one thing is that it's a means to an end. It's not an end. I think a lot of people, if you look at just the kind of content that these young people are digesting from like famous rappers, famous athletes and things like that, it seems as if the point where, or the goal for most of these young people is that they just want to have that type of money, right? They just want to make $1 million, and that for them is like it. But I really want to encourage all of them to think about money as a way for you to make your life what you want it to be. It's a way for you to kind of achieve that freedom to do what you want in this world. And I guess a more tangible tip is just save. Like save. There's so many opportunities that I have now that I'm thanking my younger self for, because if I didn't, 2 years ago, I had my first internship and I saved, a few $1,000s. Like if I didn't do that, and last summer as well, like I wouldn't have the opportunity to invest in certain things or even invest in myself right now today, right? I'd have to come up with some way to make new money today. But my younger self kind of did that already for me, right? So at a young age, like what you have is time on your side and not many responsibilities, not many liabilities. So save as much money as you can, enjoy your life, but like save as much money as you can, invest in yourself while you're really young.
Got you, got you. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that whole future self thing versus current self, right?
Yeah.
And past self, and just thinking about yourself in many different contexts, right?
Right.
And that's something that I regret actually, as it relates to just wealth and finances. Is I think that I wasted a lot of time in my 20s. So
Mm,
after graduation, I spent a few years building up my business. But
yeah.
then after, I left Cornell, getting my MBA, I kind of took a few years off where I didn't do too much, right? So
Mm,
I was just kind of hanging and chilling and really just coasting along. But I enjoyed that time. However, now since I have a daughter, have a 1-year-old daughter, or
yeah.
almost, I wish I would have invested more in terms of building additional assets,
Hmm.
especially when your value of your labor is your high or it's the highest when you're in your 30s and also your 40s, right?
Yep.
So I
Yep.
wasted a few years, ramping back up, and that's something I wish I just did differently. But you can say that about every single step of the way. So I
Right.
like the way you said that about if you're young in terms of you getting that first job, or you're in college, or just a college graduate or something. Saving in the early days, especially when you're used to not really needing that much,
Hmm.
so that your future self can enjoy life even more. So I think that's
Right.
awesome advice. But as age 14 and 15 and 16, you don't have any money and you don't have any
Right.
way of actually making money either. But that doesn't mean you don't have something of value to offer, and doesn't mean that there's not things of value that you can actually build up.
Right.
So, what would you say to the high school ninth grader or 10th grader or whatever, who's looking just to live a successful life,
Yeah.
since they can't really go get a job and make money per se, like really just make a lot of money right then and there?
Yeah.
What would you tell them to do with their time
Right.
to be the most productive?
Yeah, so I think that's a good point that you said. The good word you said, time there, because time is also very valuable. It's actually more valuable than money because time is limited, right? And so, like you said, not really much opportunity for them at a young age to get a job. That's cool, but you have the freedom after you finish your homework assignment after school, and it's like 6 p.m. to learn, right? To really get those 10,000 hours. And I was talking to I was at an event with the CEO of Dropbox the other day, and he was saying that the reason he got so good at coding so early is because that's all he did when he was like 13 to 17. There's not much else to do, right? So you got those 10,000 hours of mastery in very early on. So one thing I'd say for sure is to keep trying new things at that young age. Like go, whether it's a sport or whether it's some club, try out new things and kind of fail fast. That's at least my philosophy on that, because I like failing as soon as possible so I can know what I don't want to do, or I can know like what I shouldn't be doing. And so I recommend, like, even my little brother, he's 15 now. And my encouragement to him is just, if you want to do something, if you want to get into photography, like, let's do it. Let's do it as hard as we can. And if you don't like it, then we'll move on to something else. But if you do, we'll continue building and investing in you. But the whole idea is to try, right? You have to try new things in order to figure out what you want. And I think when I turned 16, or when I turned 15, that's actually the first year I started to believe like what I'm saying right now and the advice that I'm giving. Because I only stuck to what I was doing. I was playing basketball and that was it. And I didn't care about my school. I didn't care about college. I didn't care about anything. But I took this leap of faith and went to this engineering summer program, and it actually exposed me to all the fields of engineering, and that kind of woke up this life inside of me that found this interest in computer science and engineering and innovation as a whole. And if I didn't try it out, I had no right to do it, right? Like it didn't make sense for me to do that, but I tried something new, right? And if I hated it, then I would have learned something as well, right? I think a lot of people view failure as a bad thing, but I think it's just very educational. Whether you do something well, or you fail at it, in both scenarios, you're learning something, right? Oh, I'm good at this, so I'm going to keep going. Oh, I'm bad at this, so I'm not going to do this anymore, right? So to summarize that, really just the advice is to learn as much as you can and try as many new things as possible. YouTube is free, right?
Yeah, yeah, and the world is so big and so many opportunities and things that people can actually try out, and that's interesting because I think about like there's a new book about what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it, but about trying new things and how we force our kids now to specialize way too early in life,
Way too early.
Especially if they're doing sports, right? So, if you're in sports, you start out at age 10, get your first AAU team, then you have a summer camp, then you have to do this, that. And then by the age 13 or 14, like you have to be really into that sport because what people are looking for the kids to do, not necessarily go to the pros, but at least to get a college scholarship somewhere to, unburden themselves from the cost of, the cost of education in college. And I found that to be interesting, but a lot of the best athletes, they actually didn't specialize, right? So they were generalists. They tried a whole bunch of different things, and then they found what their path was, and then they eventually, found that passion where they just didn't need external motivation to get them to work. They loved what they were doing, and it caused them to not burn out in that particular thing that they were actually doing. So that's one thing in terms of just like exposure. I think what you're saying is so brilliant. And the second thing in regards to just learning in terms of failure, there's a book called Principles by a guy named Ray Dalio that's really popular amongst the engineers and economists and other people. And one cool thing that he stated, he's a billionaire hedge fund manager, but he talks about, what does he say? Learning. So pain plus reflection equals learning or equals progress, right? So combine the pain that you feel and then reflecting on that pain and why you feel that and how you get to that point. That's where the actual learning comes into play. And that's how you move forward in life. So when that pattern comes back again in terms of those set of circumstances or something close to it, you know what to not do and what to do instead so you can avoid that pain, the second time around. So I found that to be, very brilliant as well. But before we get out of here, just want to remind everyone we're here with Jerron Petty. If you guys like this video, go ahead and press the thumbs up button. Also, make sure that you share and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well if you want to receive more video content like this in the future. Last but not least, please make sure that you, we have a webinar coming out. We're doing a launch for our multifamily movement mastermind, and that's going to be with Julian Gordon. Is tonight at 8 p.m. at theemancipationequation.com. That is theemancipationequation.com. So if you're interested in real estate and you want to learn more about it, you want to learn more about buying multifamily properties, please head over to theemancipationequation.com as well. But before we get out of here, Jerron, anything? How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about this movement that you have amongst young people and just learn more about you in particular?
Yeah, so my website, JerronPetty.com, my first name, JerronPetty.com. That's the best place to get in touch. It has all my socials on there. It has all the projects that I'm working on there, my email, everything. I'm on Instagram, obviously, have Wise Media on Instagram, Better Than Half on Instagram. But yeah, really what I'm looking for right now is just people to kind of support the projects that I'm working on and kind of, give us feedback because we're very early stage, but also looking to connect with anybody who wants to talk, wealth in the Black community, product management, entrepreneurship, anything.
Wonderful, Jerron. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on today. If you guys, like I said, if you guys want to know more about Jerron, head over to Jerron Petty, JerronPetty.com. And connect with Jerron. And we're definitely gonna have him back. I think he'd be kind of cool to talk about just our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, right? So in terms of just how to turn young people into billionaires, and not just financially though, but just wealth in general. So on that note, thanks everybody for tuning in. You guys take care.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all.